When I was just 15, my family disowned me. Pregnant, terrified, and thrown out of the only home I knew. They said I was a disgrace. They said I'd never amount to anything. But years later, when I stood on the steps of my $1 million home, holding the keys to a life they swore I'd never have, they came crawling back. And that's when I gave them the answer they deserved. If you've ever been abandoned, betrayed, or underestimated, this story will hit home. Subscribe now, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments, because sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't in fighting back. It's in thriving beyond anyone's wildest expectations. My name is Grace. At 15, I made a mistake, or at least that's what my family called it. I called it love. I fell for Michael, the boy who made me feel seen when no one else cared. When I found out I was pregnant, my world stopped. I thought my family would help me, guide me. Instead, they turned cold. I still remember the night my father shouted across the dining room table, his voice like thunder. "You've ruined this family's name. Get out." My mother's silence was worse than any scream. She just looked at me as if I was already dead. So, at 15, I packed a small bag, left home, and carried my unborn child into a world that suddenly felt colder than I ever imagined. The days that followed were brutal. I slept in shelters, sometimes in cheap rented rooms when Michael could scrape some money together. Food became a luxury. I skipped meals so my growing baby could have what little I managed. There were nights I cried so hard my chest ached, whispering apologies to the life inside me. "I'll make it better for you. I promise." And through it all, Michael never left. He worked odd jobs, saved every coin, and swore to me, "Grace, I'll make a way for us. Just hold on." When our daughter, Ava, was born, everything changed. She was tiny, fragile, but when I held her, I felt a strength I didn't know existed. She became my reason to fight. But reality hit again. Michael knew we couldn't raise a child like this forever. With a heavy heart, he made the hardest decision. "Grace, I need to go abroad. If I can work there, I can build us a future." It broke me. The thought of raising Ava alone terrified me. But he was right. So with tear-stained cheeks, I watched him board that plane, clutching Ava in my arms, whispering, "We'll wait for you." The years were not easy. I worked as a cleaner by day, babysitter by night, anything to keep Ava fed and clothed. I endured whispers, judgment, and loneliness. But I kept going because every letter, every call from Michael reminded me this suffering was temporary. And then the call came. Michael had made it. He'd worked his way up, saved enough, and secured papers. He wanted us to join him. When Ava and I landed in that new country, stepping off the plane felt like stepping into freedom. For the first time, we weren't surviving, we were living. Together, Michael and I built everything from scratch. He worked, I studied, and got qualifications. I eventually started a small business, one that grew beyond my wildest dreams. Within a decade, we weren't just stable. We were successful. A beautiful home, Ava in the best schools, travel, joy. The girl they threw away had become a woman they could never ignore. It was around Ava's 16th birthday when the first message came. A cousin I hadn't heard from in years. Then my mother. Then, finally, my father. Suddenly, the family that had spit me out like poison wanted to reconnect. They sent long messages about forgiveness, about family ties. They even tried to guilt me with lines like, "Blood is thicker than water." But where was blood when I was 15, homeless, pregnant, and begging for help? So, when they finally asked to visit, I agreed. Not because I wanted them back, but because I wanted them to see. They arrived at our mansion, eyes wide, jaws dropping. My mother whispered, "Grace, you did all this?" And I smiled, calm and collected. "Yes, without you." When my father tried to apologize, fumbling with excuses about not knowing how to handle it back then, I stopped him. "You left a child to suffer because she embarrassed you. But the girl you abandoned? She doesn't need you anymore." And then I closed the door in their faces. The revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was the look in their eyes when they realized the power they once had over me was gone. The girl they disowned had risen so high they couldn't even reach her. I learned something. Sometimes family isn't defined by blood. It's defined by love, by loyalty, by who stands with you when the world turns its back. My family wasn't the one I was born into. My family was Michael, my daughter, and the life we built together. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories of justice, resilience, and sweet revenge. And tell me in the comments, what's the biggest betrayal you've ever seen? And how would you take your power back? Because remember, karma never forgets. And sometimes, the best revenge is simply living the life they swore you never would.